Hello, boys and girls. Oh, I can't say that. I got a complaint. It's patronising. We've got a lot to get through. I've not rehearsed it. Let's just get going, eh?
Good morning, good morning.
It's great to stay up late.
Good morning to you.
We'd like to say that, in our opinion, it is not suitable for children or for those of you who may have a nervous disposition.
Well, no, not yet. Well, what's been going on in my life? If you've been watching the shorts, every single time I come up with a show, it's getting hot here, I end up with another one on another one and another one and another one, and I just can't keep up. So we're just going to do a review today, and I'm going to start with the BBC. Nigel Farage. He wants to scrap the BBC. Yes, they've been naughty again, and then the latest one just last week having illegal immigrants on Question Time. Bring back Robin Day. It just seemed fairer then, or was I just younger? All right? So I just don't get it. Nigel Farage wants to scrap the BBC completely. I'll just quickly say, Keir Starmer now wants to bring in legislation where people like Nigel Farage can't go on GB News. Honestly, every day, as I say, something new comes up. Why? Right. GB News, very, very pro Nigel Farage, and it's all his mates doing this, isn't it? And backing it when you follow the paper chain. Paper chain, money. You know that's exactly where it is. But then again, it's the only platform reform I've got. But to scrap the BBC. So I had a look at the BBC. I took some notes the other day. I think the BBC News needs completely reviewing. Scrap Question Time. It's become a bloody big joke. We know it's a joke now. Is it Fiona, some other bloody woman, just presenter? Scrap it. Panorama had its day. Been totally exposed by Tommy Robinson, but here we are still carrying on with this same old bloody bullshit, eh? So I'm just going to rattle off but if you got rid of the BBC, if the BBC hadn't existed, yes, I think it needs to be a slightly different system, and to actually charge people, especially old age pensioners now, all that money for a licence. I think they've paid enough in a lifetime, don't you? Now, I was just thinking, what does the BBC give to me? So here we go. Comedy. These are just my quick thoughts. Fools and Horses, Brushstrokes, Heidi High, Bread, Hello Hello, Young Ones, Blackadder, Yes Minister, Ever Decreasing Circles. Then you would have had The Good Life on top of that, wouldn't you? Vicar of Dibley. Sitcoms. EastEnders was brilliant in its day. Not now with all this woke shit, isn't it? With all this inclusivity and all these gayness and everything else. Dirty Dead and Angie, Christmas Day. This was all brought by the BBC and the Christmas specials. All right, then the kids stuff I grew up with, and you would have done as well. Doctor Who, John Craven's Newsround, Impartial John Craven, we loved him. Blue Peter, for God's sake. Grange Hill, Rainbow, Basil Brush, Bruce Forsyth's TV, all of his TV. Crackerjack, I know, Crackerjack. Grange Hill, as I said, Bagpuss, Double Deckers, Wombles, Clangers, Swap Shop, Rhubarb and Custard, Jim will fix it. I don't know about Jim will fix it. Yeah, that was all right, but my wife wrote into him. Jamie and the Magic Torch, the best ever TV kids intro. Jamie and the Magic Torch. Upstairs, Downstairs, An Indian Line, Boys from the Black Stuff, brilliant. Give us a job. Tinker Tailor, Soldier's Spy, that was a brilliant. The Singing Detective. Not bad at all, eh? You've got to get dig deeper. Nigel Farage would have been brought up on this as well, especially in his playground when he was 14 years old. That was a lot of rubbish. Eh? What a lot of crap. I can't remember one single word I said then. Now we go on to radio. I grew up on Radio 1, Radio Roadshow. I even went to a couple. Paul Burnett, I remember seeing him. I'm like, Paul Burnett there, up top. I've even seen, Simon Bates live as well. So you had the Roadshow, Ed Stewpod Stewart. Didn't you? I loved his morning show. Noel Edmonds, he now lives down the road from me, there in New Zealand. Well, on the other island, but he does live in New Zealand. Noel Edmonds, think about him. Steve Wright in the afternoon. Geez, that changed radio forever, didn't it? Became more like a sitcom, Mr. Angry and all the other people. Tony Blackburn, Arnold and a Dog, woof woof. Remember? The Hairy Cornflake, DLT. Dave Lee Travers, another one. Jimmy Savile Sunday Lunchtime. Simon Bates, Peter Powell, Mike Reed, Gary Davis, Janice Long, Mike Smith, bless him. And then you've got John Peel, haven't you? And then who was the other one? Oh, there's heaps, isn't there? Gail, what is it? Gail Nottingale, you know what I mean, her. So in conclusion, yes, it has been totally taken over. It is now very biased towards the Labour, my God, we're going to get into a little bit of that in a little while. We're now going to have a quick look. I'll put some clips up. I do apologise because I've been going down the rabbit hole these last 6 months. So I would get on my phone, I'd look, and then the algorithm would go another. I'm like, but I do my research, all right? Do your research. So I do my research after, but it takes me down a rabbit hole, and that's why you now got all these bloody loony lefties. Flick, Palestine. What? Palestine, I'm gay. And Palestine? Pro-Palestinians. You'd be fucking dead if you were gay in bloody Palestine. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't even do the research. Do your research. Don't believe me. Don't necessarily believe this, even though this is Wikipedia, who now are like asking for lots of money. I'm not here to scare you, but let's have a quick look at what's going on in the UK, and we're going to start with this rise of the Muslims. I make no apologies for saying that. I am a nice white Englishman. I love diversity, but there becomes a point, doesn't there? So let's have a look.
On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Hillingdon, I'm grateful for the invitation to lead the prayer service. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Hillingdon, I'm grateful for the invitation to lead the prayer service. On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Hillingdon, I'm grateful for the invitation to lead the prayer service. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Hillingdon, I'm grateful for the invitation to lead the prayer service. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
We thank Rachel Reeves for scraping the 2-child benefits limit, and now we can claim tens of thousands of extra pounds to support our lifestyle. We really believe that this measure was aimed to help us and our communities, as normal Christian families usually have 2 or less kids, so they won't benefit from it. Thank you, Kaya.
The UK is turning Muslim faster than most people realize. As of 2025, there are 4.3 million Muslims, making up 6.3% of the country. And astonishingly, over half are UK-born, according to the 2021 census. Taking into account major cities, Birmingham sits at around 30%, Bradford sits at around 25%, and London at roughly 15%. The growth has 2 main drivers. First, a younger age profile. The median age for Muslims is about 30, compared to 40 nationwide. Second, higher fertility rates. Around 2.9 children per woman, while the UK average is 1.44. Migration adds the rest, contributing around 60% of total growth. And don't forget the illegal immigration across the English Channel. Culturally, the shift is visible too. Muhammad was the most popular boy's name in England and Wales in 2024, with over 6,000 registrations. And long-term projections, the Muslim population could reach 13 million by 2050 if current trends continue.
£17,900 per mosque. £87 per church. That's the government's idea of balance. The UK government has two main security schemes for places of worship. One is dedicated to mosques and Muslim faith schools, funded with £39.4 million this year, including a £10 million boost that was announced earlier this week. The other one is called the Places of Worship Protective Security Scheme, I'm just making sure I got that right, and that one supports churches and other faith buildings, and that has about £3.5 million available. Now, from the figures I could find, there are roughly 2,200 mosques and about 40,000 churches in the UK. So when you look at the difference in funding per site, it's very significant at around £17,900 per mosque versus £87 per church. A bit imbalanced, I would say.
Right. First of all, why did I bring up this Muslim thing again? This, predominantly in the UK, is a Christian country. I say you import their problems, you end up with a problem. They're not integrating, you know that. And I will remind everybody, where I come from in Lowestoft, we had Frenchies by the French, right? We had Albanese, he was Italian. We had the Indian restaurants by the Indians, and we had all the lovely Chinese takeaways, or chinkies as we used to call them, as well, right? They didn't bring in bloody hundreds of their families. They didn't build a mosque if they were Muslims. They integrated within our society and we welcomed them. This lot are not. Is it a takeover? I would suggest yes. Was it 2,200 more? It's more than that. She got that little bit wrong. Why am I now leading on to that? Because this is what I was going to do the other week. This was going to be churches versus mosques. Now, let's get into this. A few mosques get vandalised, and then Hudi Mahadi Mahur, that Muslim lady, who says she is a good practicing Muslim and live by her Muslim values. What the fuck is she doing in the top table in the... Oh, I've already swore, algorithm, that'll squash me. What is she doing at the top table in the Labour Party? This is predominantly a Christian country, not a Muslim country. Right, let's get into that. So she's given all this money out. So, churches versus mosques. So I don't even really need to look at my notes here. So, what was it last year? The year before, it was about 120 mosques were defaced, but then last year it went up to about 240. It doubled. So then she suddenly brought in all this security stuff for all these mosques around the country, after them Jewish people in their place of worship was stabbed to death. Didn't get nothing for them, but all of a sudden all these... So you see what I'm saying with this woman? She lives by Muslim real law, and she's helping just the Muslims. So what about the Jewish community, which is getting bloody absolutely hammered for no reason? Algorithm again, isn't it? Now, if you look at defacing, there was over 1,200 churches defaced last year. Google online or go on YouTube and you'll see 4 churches burnt to the ground this last year. Literally 4, and one of them, they caught him right outside the church when he burnt it, and he's a Muslim.
Pakistani men set fire to a church, an attack not just on bricks but on beliefs. If the roles were reversed, would the outrage be louder?
Any news about that? Can you imagine if just one mosque was burnt to the ground in the UK by the government? There would be an absolute outroar, would there not? So all of it's here, all of it. It's all fact-based. Who measures anti-Christian attacks on churches? There is no official body. There is an official body paid by you, the taxpayers, via the government, to actually monitor and look how many Muslim mosques are being defaced. And I've put here in my notes, 2025, 4 Christian churches burnt to ground. Not a single word about that, is there? So let's have a look at the Labour. What's going on with Labour? They're not working for you. You know that, and I know that. Let's just go on to the next one. Let's have a little listen to Maggie as well. Bless her.
I'll tell you what's a dictatorship, and I'll tell you what's an authoritarian regime. It's cancelling elections, it's cancelling jury trials, it's imposing a digital ID system with no political mandates, and it's also curbing online dissent that you don't approve of. That's how authoritarian regimes operate, and you're doing all of that without a political mandate. It was not in your manifesto. We're not the ones cancelling elections. We're not the ones that want to surveil the whole country. We're not the ones that want to subject everyone to a digital ID without a political mandate. That's how dictators operate. It's not us, it's you.
Socialists don't like people to do things for themselves. Socialists like to get people dependent on the state. You'll never build a great society that way. We were the first country to attempt and to succeed in rolling back the frontiers of socialism, which is the first cousin to communism.
Totally 100%. Didn't like the lady back in the day, but she seemed, in my opinion, that she said all the right things at the right time. In some sense, Enoch Powell did exactly the same thing, did he not? In the 60s, he got hammered as well. She left before she got booted out, let's face that. So let's have a look at this communism. So I've got here as well. UK and the West, individual freedoms, justice, governments, economic and property, family. That's changing under Labour. It wasn't particularly good under the Tories. They allowed all this to continue, blaming Labour before and Tony Blair. Don't forget, Tony Blair now is more powerful than when he was Prime Minister. And we did a piece, did we not, on Tony Blair and his Tony Blair Institute being given £145 million a year to lobby back at the British governments, the press and everybody else. It's bad, eh? Under communism. So let's have a look at what's going on in the UK at the moment. 12,500 people arrested. People arrested at the airport. Famous people. The man who did the Ted Irish TV series, Father Ted. He got arrested for a tweet that he did in May this year. Right? Arrested at an airport with guns. So let's have a look. Are you living in a free country in the UK or not? So communism. Limited speech. No independent religion. Yes, coming that way, eh? Courts controlled by party death penalty. Right, courts controlled by the party. This man. He is now trying to scrap trial by jury. He's doing it under the facade that basically we got such a big backlog we don't know what to do. So let's just scrap these 10 people who are your peers to say whether you're guilty or not after giving the evidence. No, we're just going to slam you up. That's it. No, we'll slam you up. That's it. That's a kangaroo court, is it not? And this fucking algorithm, he wants to bring it in because he says a backlog. This, what he's wearing, this is what's wrong with the British bullshit that's going on this day. This should be fucking scrapped, right? This should be scrapped. What a absolute arsehole, isn't he? He's what's wrong with the UK, along with Keir Starmer, obviously, and all the other people that's in there. Trial by jury. Communism. One party rule. Totalitarianism. I tried that one earlier on. You know what I mean. That word. Totalitarian state. Isn't it? It's there now. State-owned enterprises limited. But they're trying that anyway. Married couples were rewarded from religion. Which leads me on, let's get rid of that. That's gone out the way. That's gone out the way as well, because that David Lammy, honestly, how do these people, he's another Boris Johnson, another one, it's like Keir Starmer, educated idiots, but they're still idiots and they've still got no common sense. And they worm their way through life, don't they? Bullshitting. So I'm just going to quickly go on. What was the next one? Lefty Loonies by Hannah. Oh, I love Hannah. Now, she was up for awards on TikTok, and TikTok decided that they weren't going to let her be up for an award because she wears too low tops. For fuck's sake, the world's gone nuts, absolutely nuts, and we're going to get to Ralph Garner at some point as well. Yeah.
You said no kings, but you're the ones who lined up behind the real tyrants. You scream fascist at us while you defend the ones who silence truth with a gun. You call us Nazis while you turn a blind eye to paedophilia, rape and the destruction of innocence. You say words are violence, then use actual violence to destroy cities and shoot people in the neck. You stand with those who poison minds and shred families, and then you dare call us the extremists. No more. You say we're the problem. Well, we're the ones who stand for truth. We're the ones who refuse to bow to your warped reality. You label us with every ugly word you can muster, but at the end of the day, we're the ones who won't be intimidated into silence, and we're the ones who hold vigils when someone's killed. We're not the same, and we never will be. You want to know what side of history you're on? You're on the wrong side, but you're on the side that will never stop the truth. And we'll keep speaking it. We're here, and we're not backing down. Okay, thanks, bye.
100% right. If you totally agree with that, you might as well leave this show right now. Isn't she right? We just had another march this weekend from the gays who want preferential treatment in this country, and we're the first to actually stop them injections in little kids. They're out there in arms this weekend. Anyone that starts shouting and screaming at you and go, "You're wrong, you're a racist, you're an arsehole," just look at them and go, "Another loony lifty. Bet you vote Green as well. Green or Labour." Yeah, absolutely nuts. So, cancel culture. She was perfect, eh? She is perfect. She should have an award. She's so funny. You should follow her. You should follow her. Anyway, next clip.
Called a joke. We used to tell them before people decided everything had to hurt their feelings. You know, back in my day, you could tease your buddy, laugh, and then buy him the next round. Now you gotta issue a press release. Lighten up, have a pint, and let the punchlines called a joke.
Oi, you! What have you got there? Give me that! No, let me check your Twitter. It's quite funny, actually. Right, you're lucky. There's nothing offensive on there. Get out of here and don't make me see you again.
Absolutely perfect, is it not? Would you not agree? They're not locking people up through carrying knives anymore. They're locking people up for what they say, hurty words. I don't get it. I miss the 70s and the 80s and a bit of the 90s before all this nonsense crept in, did it not? It really did creep in. So we're going to move in. I don't need to discuss that anymore. You and I know. I am reviewing as we go along, as you know. And to actually tell a joke now you can get locked up for is absolutely nonsense. Can you imagine if my South African friend, he's not on here this week. Every week we have a chat and a laugh about Irish jokes. All sorts of, I'm part Irish, but all sorts of jokes, taking the mickey out of each other around the world. Just taking the mickey, having the laugh, and afterwards sitting down a pub and having a pint. Can't do that no more. Can't do that. Everyone's bloody offended. Even people I know get offended over being offended. I'm offended because I'm offended over what you were offended about with me. Anyway, benefit scroungers.
Should the long-term unemployed be required to work in exchange for benefits? Well, the short answer is yes, obviously, but there's a more balanced way to look at this. So, supporters of unconditional benefits often argue that a decent society helps people who are struggling. That's a fair point, but that should work both ways. So if the community supports you financially, it's reasonable to expect you to give something back that contributes to the same community. So here's a simple framework with 3 weekly tasks. 16 hours of community work. Low-skill tasks that councils already struggle to cover. Things like basic gardening, verge tidying, waste and litter clearance, graffiti removal. There's plenty of work that adds value locally. People with mobility or health issues could handle admin or data tasks instead. 8 hours of training. Right now we push everyone into the same job clubs. That makes no sense. We should use colleges and training providers to offer practical options depending on need. Money management and basic life skills, CV rebuilding and profile work, sector-specific top-ups, support for people returning after long careers. We could be matching the training to the person and their experience. And finally, 16 hours for job searches. So instead of telling people to spend the week looking for work, give them a defined block of time. And if they get an interview or a test time or a project, they can flex to focus properly that week. Across these 3 tasks, you get structure, contribution, and better use of public money. And people, in return, get routines, skills, and support that actually moves them forward.
That's Graham David. Follow him. He makes so much sense. Should have someone like him, independent or not, in the government advising them. That makes total 100%. I remember when I was out of work briefly in the mid-90s and they made me go in a job club. And that was a bit like the Full Monty when you watch the film. And they're just sitting there, bored bloody shitless. Bored shitless. I back then would rather have been in a classroom learning, which I did. I removed myself and enrolled myself in college and went to college for 3 years, got three different, I got so many qualifications that weren't funny, and eventually I found a job. Why do they force people to sit in a room looking for a job they are going to hate that's not even there? And yeah, the benefit scroungers. You've got generations of families now, not just bloody Muslims, but white people. I was watching Bread, the TV series, the other day, and I actually wound myself up. I got to the second series. I normally have it as background noise in here while I'm doing some work and renovations, right? And I got so annoyed, because they're also what's problem with a society, isn't it? Bread. Family, yeah, and fucking living off us. People, in the 80s, I was working really hard on my metal polishing machine and chrome plating. And I was feeding these fucking arseholes, so I couldn't watch it. I really could not watch it. So, as I said, I said in the last episode, I'm going to try and review how we operate in here and make it more entertaining and less stressful, and me winding you up because someone else wound me up on this. And we're going to, bring back a little bit of nostalgia. And I want to start right now. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I've got to press the button first.
Holy, here we go again, then.
I've missed the film review. I must admit, I'm not going to go sit back down in my blue screen and add a pub. I'm in my pub. So I'm going to just use this for now on. And there's some really good stuff. So one this week, which links to what's actually going on. And Keir Starmer was actually mentioned in the TV series. And it's called The Hack with David Tennant. David Tennant is flawless. He's brilliant. Watch it. It's really, I can't state, that's a 10 out of a 10. And it is a true story. I dare say they had their lawyers all over the script before they actually started even acting one single line in front of a camera, because it's really getting to the core of British politics, British police and the press. And it took this one man, along with a couple of other people, to actually expose what's going on. Now, I say everything looks the same, but it isn't. In this case, everything looks different, but it's the same. Because you know, and I know, News of the World collapsed on Sunday. That's gone. And they just replaced it with another newspaper with all the dumb fucks carried on buying it. Still a red top, still Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch is still out there, still pushing out his vile lies, his agenda. Fucking Australian of all people. All right, so that hasn't changed. All that's changed was a few people got prosecuted and the Sunday paper got taken down. It's a brilliant step-by-step look. Even the police were scared of the press back then. And this is not that long ago. 12, 14 years ago, is it? So even the press was scared. Now, it ain't changed. It's got worse. The press have got worse. In some respect, they got worse because they're now very biased towards one ideology, I suppose, party. They're not telling the truth. They're not impartial. I used to watch John Craven's News Round. I felt it was the truth. We need to bring something back like that. Talk to us like we're all kids again. I think we need it. It's got so complicated and so vile and so disgusting. All right? The Hack. Have a look at The Hack. Let's go back to Labour, shall we? I'm getting all hot under the collar. I'm not drinking, but I feel I need one after this. Good grief.
When you look at Keir Starmer's roots, you know, he was very much involved in hard left magazines at university. He spent 2 weeks at a commie camp in Czechoslovakia when he was in his 20s, and it was run by the USSR back then. It feels like the litany of crimes that Labour has committed against this country, you know, misleading the markets, frustrating the child rape gang inquiry, mercenaries, handing over our British territory. It wasn't theirs to hand over, sort of collapsing the Chinese spy case. It feels like we are being run by a commie mafia who are not accountable to anyone, who don't care if they lie and cheat and deceive their way into power.
Tell me if you think she is wrong. Comment below. Please subscribe. But comment below if you think she is wrong. And it's back to this sheet, isn't it? Limited speech, no independent religion, courts controlled by the party, which they're already being controlled, aren't they? What about Lucy Connolly? You can't tell me that weren't intervened by the bloody government and she got a maximum sentence, for God's sake. Tommy Robinson locked up again and again and again, and the last time he locked him up, they locked him up and the guy in court said, we arrested him because we recognised him. And then when they recognised him, they then arrested him under the Terrorism Act. He ain't a fucking terrorist. And you can't say that can't come from the government. Everything goes back to this Labour Party. Since they became powerful, it started with them. You had a very weak Tory government. They didn't do all this shit. This has just got out of control. Keep telling you, 12,500 people arrested this year for hurty words towards whoever, including the government. I don't like the government. I have people on this show that text me privately to tell me they're too scared in the UK to actually say anything. One person even said to me, I don't think you should go back to the UK. Gary, you'll just get arrested. That's how bad it's getting. So where are we up to? So love or hate Liz Truss, you should look back into her background. She tried to change the fabric of Parliament, and guess what they did? 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. Boom, gone. She's still out there. She's still spreading the love when it comes to proper common sense. The economy collapsed not because of her, but because they made it collapse. Banks, everyone, they made it collapse. You can research. Do your flippin' research. They didn't like her because she wanted political change.
Keir Starmer lecturing people about being unpatriotic is a joke, isn't it? I mean, the guy is he comes from the strand of left-wing thinking that hates our country. You know, that loves international institutions like the UN, international law, the EU. That is Starmer. Mm-hmm. You know, he hates our country, and he comes from a long line of the left who think that way. So it's a bit of a cheek, him saying that.
Now, what's she saying? He likes all these little secret societies. We've done this one, the sheep in wolf's clothing and all that stuff, eh? Yeah, we've done it. He loves this World Forum. He loves the bloody 30 this time, about the eco-friendly, this, that and the other. We're getting to that in a minute. He just loves anything that's not basically democracy. Democracy doesn't like. He is, in my eyes, a communist. When you look into communism, say we had him in power for after what he's done for the last 18 months, but he got re-elected again, you wouldn't really recognise your own society. You really would not. So let's have a little light relief from Alf Garnett, shall we? And his thoughts. I always thought Alf Garnett was quite funny because he was a working man and didn't like Labour. He didn't like gays or blacks, and he ended up having a gay black guy, bear with me, a gay black guy. Don't switch off, I can say gay and black in the same bloody light, God's sake. Black gay guy, and he was his carer, called Marigold. Couldn't get away with that today, but when you actually look behind it, he actually thought an awful lot of that man. He really did think a lot of that man because he was his carer. And he lost his wife, who, poor woman, died of boredom, I reckon. But anyway, have a listen to Alf Garnett.
Bread. Marvellous, isn't it? Dry bread for me Sunday dinner. That's it. Dry bread for your Sunday dinner. Marvellous. There's criminals. There's bloody murderers sitting in prison, got a better Sunday dinner than I've got. There's muggers, there's rapists sitting down the roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. I have got to eat bloody stale dry bread. Labour Council. Oh, vote for us. We'll look after you if you're poor. We look after the old age pensioners. We are the party what cares. They don't give a shit. Not one of them knocked on my door, said, "I've got any Sunday dinner, nor your SDP. I can eat dry bread."
He's not wrong. That's 50 years old. Literally 50 years old. He wouldn't be allowed to make that programme today, would he? So we're going to now move, and that's absolutely true. You can't, as I used to say, you can't make this shit up, eh? So I've got here no proof. So basically it says here, no proof, you don't need proof to believe a lie. I got there at the end, eh? You don't need proof to believe a lie, but you need proof to tell the truth. How's that statement for you? Let's have a listen to this guy. He basically nails it rather than me just waffling on and waffling on and waffling on.
It's crazy how people need no proof to believe a lie, but they need countless proof to accept the truth. And that's exactly how the system likes it. They build the lie big, shiny, comfortable, a story you can swallow without chewing. But the truth? Oh, the truth comes with sharp edges. It cuts through the script they spent centuries writing. People don't reject truth because it's wrong. They reject it because it threatens the world they feel safe in. And the ones in charge know this. That's why every real truth gets buried under noise. Fact checks, experts, panels, distractions, all of it designed to make you question yourself before you ever question them. They don't hide truth behind locked doors. They hide it behind your own doubt. But here's the thing they fear the most. Once you see the pattern, you stop asking for permission to believe what you already feel in your bones. You stop needing their proof. You start trusting your own mind. Because a lie only survives when people defend it blindly. But the truth, the real truth, only needs one person brave enough to say, "Hold on, that doesn't add up." That's when everything starts shaking.
The hack. David Tennant, watch that. Takes one bloody person. That's all it takes. So it's true, isn't it? I'm not going to dwell on that because he said it perfectly. I wish I was educated differently when I was at school, because I went to a normal comprehensive school and they taught you absolutely fuck all. They didn't teach you decent grammar or nothing like that. Anyway, we're going to move on now. So we're going to bring back another old favourite, because I think you're disjointed from your food. So it's back to everything looks the same, but it's different. Let's start with a couple of little funnies. Well, one funny and one not so funny. Hey, it's back.
Dude, the World Health Organization basically took diet advice from the sugar industry and sold it to the world as science.
Wait. What do you mean, like literally?
In 1967, the Sugar Research Foundation paid Harvard scientists $50,000 to publish studies saying fat causes heart disease, not sugar. The WHO bought it. And for the next 50 years, every government on Earth told you to eat low-fat everything.
Wait, so all those low-fat cookies and skim milk we grew up with
were loaded with sugar to make them taste good. That's the scam.
Hold on, the WHO didn't fact-check this?
Nobody knew it was bought science until 2016, when researchers found internal documents proving the sugar industry literally ghost-wrote the research.
So for 50 years we've been eating wrong because of one paid study?
Not just wrong backwards. Obesity tripled during the low-fat era. Diabetes went up 700%.
Because we replaced fat with sugar in everything.
Exactly. Heart healthy became code for packed with sugar.
How did they even get away with this?
The scientists they paid went on to run major nutrition organizations. They set the guidelines everyone followed. Schools, hospitals, governments, everyone trusted the WHO's stamp of approval.
And nobody questioned it?
A few scientists did, but they were labeled fringe. The sugar industry had billions riding on this. They funded more studies, attacked critics, lobbied politicians. By the time anyone caught on, 3 generations had grown up thinking fat was the enemy.
Okay, so what should people actually do with this information?
First, read nutrition labels backwards, check sugar content before anything else. Second, ignore low-fat marketing. It's usually a sugar trap. Third, eat actual food, not processed products designed in the low-fat era.
What about current dietary guidelines?
Still based on the same compromised foundation. Cook with real butter, eat full-fat dairy, avoid anything that brags about being fat-free, sir. Oh, so yeah, next time a doctor hands you a food pyramid, maybe ask who paid for it.
That last one is shocking. I know, I've done my research, it's true. I, in the 90s, paid for all my courses, and one of them was to become a nutritionist. I qualified, but point being, they qualified me with a pyramid. We've talked about this before, where it's low fat, moderate protein, very high carbohydrate. All right? Our food is unrecognizable on the labels, but it looks the same. I'll give you, for example, I found a McVitie's packet of biscuits in one of our supermarkets a few months ago and thought, ooh, lovelies. So I bought them, dunked it, and because I hadn't had it for years, I haven't been the boiling frog syndrome, you know that, where your taste has changed slightly, the texture has changed slightly. I went full in hit. Oh, this don't taste the same. The texture's different. It's not as crumbly as it was. I posted it on Facebook. I got a barrage of complaints from my friends in the UK going, it tastes the same. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. Right. It fucking has changed. I'll tell you. It's unrecognisable, and I won't eat that shit anymore, because the main ingredients in the 80s, and you can have a look and do your research, was flour, wheat flour, and wholemeal wheat flour. Food sweeteners. Which we know biscuits have got sugar in them, but real sugar and partially inverted sugar syrup. Partially. Fat, animal fat. Pacifically suet prior to 1988. Raising agents like sodium bicarbonate and malic acid. That was it. In our nice little digestive biscuit. Sometimes it was a bit crumbly where the corner of the packet had been hit. But it was a lovely biscuit, but you knew it had sugar in it. Same with the topping with the chocolate. Do you know what's in it today? Look at the back of your packet. So, flour, 30-35% wheat flour with added calcium, iron. That's I can't even pronounce some of it. Niacin, thiamine, milk chocolate, whatever that squiggly line, and 30%. So it's not 30%. Sugar, cocoa butter, cocoa mash, dried skim milk, whey butter, oil, vegetable fats, palm shear as well, emulsifiers, soya, lithium, E476, natural flavours, whatever that fucking means anymore, more vegetable oil and palm, whole wheat flour. Oh, Jesus! I've just gone back to the beginning. So, what changed over time? Manufacturers moved from animal fats and earlier hydrogenated vegetable shortening towards palm oil, other vegetable oils. This is all to save money, and I'm just trying to get more palm oil, sunflower oil, chocolate formulations from so basically they're saving costs here. Sustainability reasons. McVitie's itself has publicly discussed recipe changes in 2009 to 2014 and returned to a classic recipe based on consumer feed, but it hasn't. But that discussion is about vegetable oil choices rather than confirming from the A. Basically, they're basically waffling, saying we were looking in 2009 to 2000. It took them a long time to talk about it, and then they didn't change it. There is a lot of shit ingredients. And when you actually go on their website and ask why they changed the ingredients, on top of that, they say it's so you get a perfect biscuit that arrives and it's not crumbling in a summer. I'd rather have a flippin' crumbly bloody one biscuit either end with mainly natural ingredients rather than all this shit they're sticking in. Now have a look at every ingredient. What's changed? Why is cancer on the rise? Why is diabetes? We've discussed all of this time and time again, haven't we? They're now relaxing. So I had a look here. What's going on? Concerns and criticism today. This is lobbying. Lobbying. Just like they're saying sugar's good for you and fat's bad for you, right? I have real butter. I have fat. I don't have chicken with the skin on it because being a former vegetarian. But I have chicken thighs, you know. I have real meat. We have singular foods that my wife mixes in the evening. Singular foods you mix to make something. We don't have a packet of emulsifiers, E this and E that, and all these corn. Oh, I need some corn syrup. Oh, there's the vegetable. It's not vegetable oil. It's comes from seeds. And if you want to have a look where the seeds are and what they're sprayed with before they even get to the bloody big refinery, that then they go and put all this shit in it, Hexene? Hexene's from petrol. It's toxic for your body. So concerns transparency and consumer rights with lax labelling. Why do you think they've laxed the labelling? I think if I had a packet of digestive biscuits and they changed the ingredients, good or bad, new ingredients should be on the side of that packet for a minimum of a year. And then after that, if it changes again, it changes, the label comes back. So at least you then can have an informed choice rather than just keep buying that product, and then not noticing the change and everything. And then you buy, oh, it's new ingredients. What's the new fucking vegetable oils? More emulsified corn syrup? Then you've got an informed choice whether you then continue to buy that product and walk away. Laxed labelling. Absolutely. And all this bullshit we're reviewing now, all this bullshit I've talked about before, protein this and protein that, what a load of flippin' bollocks. And as you saw, we live on packets. You do, I don't, not anymore. I don't want to get a horrible disease and die of the food that I consumed, and in the meantime, while I'm in the hospital, they're feeding me drugs from the same companies that fed us all this shit in the first place. Maltodextrin. That wasn't even a thing. Now it's a thing. It's a super sugar. Insulin spiking. When you come down, oh, I'm hungry again. I'll have some more. In crisps. Jesus. It's just unbloody believable. We need to move on. Please read the labels. Read the labels. The old saying, the longer the list of ingredients, the less likely you should be eating it, is still true. But if you then still pick that product and go, I couldn't give a fuck, and you get a disease, I don't give a fuck. Now, I don't. Read, that's what they're there for. They're feeding you toxins. Toxins that make you ill. Cancer. Every other person in the UK gets cancer now. I've just found out another friend's got cancer. Fuck's sake. It's just ridiculous. I've got a client whose wife is getting over cancer, and it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I'm not saying that the cancer was not around anyway, but it's on the rise. Jesus, honestly, anyway, what's going on with global warming? We've done this plenty of times. We've done the spraying this year. We now reviewing now. They came out in America saying, yeah, we have been spraying. We know they've been spraying, they've been seeding and doing all sorts for generations. The UK still hasn't really come out with it. But this whole nonsense with Ed Miliband, that man should be in prison for what he's done to the taxpayers of the UK. And while we're on the taxpayers of the UK, quickly, you're now getting charged 3p a mile in the UK. It might, if you're doing 7,000 mile, only going to be just, what, about £210? That's nothing. It's £210 that's yours, not theirs. It's yours. Get in your fucking car and go around, and they're going to get you. You're already paying massive amounts for the bloody fossil fuels, which is not bad for you, and we're going to get to that in a minute. See you bullshit. Anyway, let's have a listen to this guy.
In 1954, scientists told Congress the Arctic would melt within 25 to 50 years. Then 20 years later, in 1974, Time magazine warned we were heading for another ice age. By the 1990s, when that didn't happen, warming was the returning scare, with Norway's top experts saying the Arctic would be ice-free by 2007. The Centre for Biological Diversity said it would be ice-free by 2012. The BBC said by 2013. Needless to say, they were all wrong. The Arctic sea ice minimum has actually been stable for the past 18 years now. In 2008, NASA's James Hansen predicted Lower Manhattan would be underwater by 2018 due to the burning of fossil fuels. Back in 1923, scientists claimed Glacier National Park would melt by 1950. Then in 2006, Al Gore said it would be gone by 2020. Yet today, the glaciers are still there, about the same size they were 35 years ago. Decade after decade, the doomsday dates change, but the climate alarmist script persists. In 1954, not pollution. There is no climate emergency. That's the message from over 2,000 scientists and professionals worldwide, including Nobel laureate John Clauser, MIT's Richard Lindzen, and Emeritus Professor of Earth Sciences at the University of Melbourne, Ian Plimer. They all say climate science has become too political, and that the models behind global policy are flawed. Warming is far slower than predicted, they assert. CO2 is not pollution, it's plant food, the basis of all life on Earth. and there's zero evidence that hurricanes, floods, or droughts are worsening. The World Climate Declaration, led by the Global Climate Intelligence Group, calls for science over panic and prosperity through reliable, affordable energy. There is no climate emergency, say more than 2,000 scientists. There is no climate emergency. In 2004, the BBC warned the Maldives were soon to be uninhabitable, claiming sea levels were rising 0.9 centimetres per year and that 80% of the islands could vanish within a century. More than 2 decades later, though, reality says otherwise. The Maldives haven't sunk, they've exploded with growth. 12 new airports, expanded international terminals, record tourism of over 2 million visitors a year, and more than 170 resorts, with 7 added in 2024. Instead of disappearing under the waves, this so-called paradise in peril has shown no statistically significant sea level rise since the 1980s, according to satellite data. Here we have another climate catastrophe headline completely undone by time.
I've been trying for 2 years to get our local council, PEDU, Zenith, to listen to the technicalities of what's involved here. To get the kind of turbines in above Randamoyne that are proposed, we're talking 8,000 tonnes of turbines, 240,000 tonnes of concrete. In order to get that concrete in, that's 13,000 cement trucks or more going through Pimsant and Clonurda. And what's happening to the peat? Where are you going to put the concrete? You've got to dig a hole in the peat first. Trees are coming down, hedges are coming down, roads are being straightened. That is forever, by the way, because they'll need maintenance access forever. This is total and utter destruction in the name of the environment. Doesn't make any sense.
It's bonkers, eh? Everything's gone bonkers. COP30, over 1,400 private jets. We've done all the private jets, just taken off is a year's supply of ordinary car fuel, as in emissions onto the planet. They're unelected, but you and I pay for them for our taxes because our world leaders go there with all the other unelected people, and all they do is come back with more tax things to think of. 3p on your petrol. It's one massive con. I'm not saying we can't do more. I do my all you know, the collection of the bins and stuff, recycling as much as I can do. My wife's got a hybrid car. I don't necessarily agree with them because they're still full of lithium batteries. We've done lithium batteries and what that does to the planet, don't we? And when they've spent force, what do they do with them? They stick in the landfill. They're not reusable. I think it's bonkers, and I can't believe, and we've done this before, why are they cutting down fucking trees to put in solar panels and wind farms? It's the trees that are the lungs of the planet. Carbon, they're carbon. They thrive on the shit we stick in the air. They breathe it in and they grow. They stick it in greenhouses to make plants grow quicker. It's nuts. It's a big con. Al Gore, you saw him in there. He made over 50-60 million US dollars from his talks. Because it's just money. They're making money from mugs like you and me, and I ain't fallen for it. I ain't fallen for it for fucking years. Ooh, Christmas. Let's get on to Christmas, shall we?
Why does the inclusion of other religions require the erosion of Christianity? We never have a national debate on if we should be saying Happy Diwali. Ooh, should we be saying Happy Eid? I don't know. It's only Christianity when we're like, I don't even know, we should be saying Happy Holidays, not Merry Christmas. We should say it's a winter market, not a Christmas market, because we want to be inclusive of everyone. Do you see how inclusion there's a threshold, and now it's counterproductive because now somebody's being excluded? Can you see that? Also, Christians are a minority in this country now, so can we maybe get the same protections as other minorities and the same respect as other minority religions now? Can you include us in our own traditions? Would that be nice? That would be really kind of you. Can you? Only if another minority allows us. Could you imagine the look on everyone's faces if I went to Qatar and was like, I don't think we should be saying Happy Eid. There are some Christians here, and it's not particularly inclusive. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Christmas, for example. You know, talk about our culture slowly being taken away from us. Talk about suppression of culture until you become cultureless, no identity, then the takeover happens. We need to reinstall all of this. That's our culture. They keep it alive. We've taken our eye off the ball. Not anymore. We cannot afford to take our eye off the ball. Same with Easter. No more Easter bunny. No more Easter, at schools when they go and do Easter egg hunts. Where's that gone? All of that stops. We've taken our eye off the ball. We've allowed it to happen. It's death by 1,000 cuts. We are close to the final fucking cut. And this is where I come in, mate. No more. I want to preserve my culture. I want to preserve my people. And I want to preserve my country. And I will do it no matter what. Once I step foot into this political space, mate, I'm here. It's a new career, like my media career. I'm here for 20 to 25 years. I'm 44 years old. Once I start campaigning, that bridge is burnt. That media bridge is burnt. I cannot never go back to that. That's what politics does.
Look at this nonsense. Where's the bloody Christmas gone? Nothing Christmas about it, just some soggy banners and Brussels sprouts. They've even scrubbed the word off the signs. I'll do it myself. Look, holiday hampers. Mince pies called seasonal treats now. It's all holidays now, innit? Woke bollocks are raising our tradition.
This story is circulating, so here are the facts. Muslim councillor announces Christmas lights are cancelled in Sheffield, England. According to the council, the decision was driven by safety and logistical concerns. Lights and decorations will still be up, but the Christmas lights switch-on event will not happen. Personally, I believe this is their way of boiling the frog. Slowly, over time, our traditions will be removed. Safety concerns, right, because turning a bunch of lights on and gathering with our community is basically the same as being on the front lines in the Middle East. Are we going to say and do anything? No, we're just going to sit back and let them fuck us. Okay, thanks, bye.
Oh. Right. So, in New Zealand, this has gone nuts as well. So we've now got big posters in our gym that says, Merry Christmas in Maori. No, this is true. Merry Christmas in Maori. They would not had a name for Merry Christmas before the white fella arrived. And then in English, it's in Maori. But it doesn't say... No, I'll get it right. I'm getting there. My brain's trying to kick in. In Maori, it's Merry Christmas. In English, it's Happy Holidays. What the flippin' merry fuck is that? Anyway, UK, Tesco, they're not now Christmas trees, they're evergreen trees, they're festive mince pies. Don't go in Tesco's. If you buy a festive tree, pie, cake, whatever, you're actually part of the problem. Don't go in Tesco's. Boycott them this Christmas. You've got so many other supermarkets to go in. Boycott them. Go online, boycott them. I'm not going in your supermarket because you're cancelled Christmas. And it's happened everywhere, eh? They've been doing it forever. There used to be Happy Holidays in America because it upset the Jewish community. No, they did. So it's Happy Holidays. Why Happy Holidays? It's bloody Merry Christmas. So we're going to finish with, is this little lady recapping on basically when you come into someone else's culture. And then we're going to finish with Dear Maggie Thatcher. Alright? And then, just to lighten the festive mood, I'm going to bring up a few facts at the end. 2 Whams, last Christmas. We've got to be more festive. It's got a bit of a twist, but it's a festive end to the year. So you have a good Christmas and a happy new year. I will be back New Year's and we will come up with a new format if I can keep up with what's going on, predominantly in the UK at the moment, because I do feel you're going down a communist road, and I feel if this last 2025 is anything to go by, next year it's going to get worse. Someone's on the phone ringing me. Coup titles, Leslie. I ain't even introduced Leslie. You have a good Christmas. Happy New Year. Come on.
We British people are too nice and always take care of everyone. In this case, we see some have taken advantage of it. We welcome anyone who wants to be here. Just come legally, work hard and earn your place. That's the fair and proper way it should work.
We have to learn again to be one nation, or one day we shall be no nation. Despite our problems and our failures, this is still a good land to live in and bring up a family. It's a land of great natural riches, the coal beneath our feet, the oil and gas in the sea around our shores, the fertile acres of our farms. But it's also a land of great human resources. We still have, and we've always had, enterprise and skills, firms and industries whose workers can perform as well as any in the world. What we don't have are the right conditions, the incentive for success. And it's this incentive we must and can create. But to do so, we must first stop tearing ourselves apart.
Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I will give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Once bitten and twice shy, I keep my distance, but you still catch my eye. Tell me, baby, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a year, it doesn't surprise me. I wrapped it up and sent it with a note saying, I'll love you, I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been, but if you kissed me now, I know you would fool me again. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Oh, oh, baby. Crowded room, friends with tired eyes. I'm hiding from you and your solar eyes. My God, I thought you were someone to rely on. Me, I guess I was a shoulder to cry on, a face on a lover with fire in his heart, a man undercover, but you tore me apart. Oh, now I found a real love. You will never fool me again. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I will give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I will give it to someone special. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.
Oh, God, blimey.